Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll be taking the audience through management of microbial keratitis at a primary eye care level. As we all know that microbial keratitis is a leading cause of corneal blindness, especially in countries like India. The incidence in India is quite high. It's about 113 per 1 lakh population in per year. So there have been challenges in diagnosing and treatment, and definitely, and the need of a diagnosis also at a primary eye care level. Some of them are absence of adequate facilities, that is microbiology lab, well-equipped lab, and microbiologist. Second is the practice of traditional medications by the village healers and quacks. Now, it has been there in a study from South India that almost 71% of uh, my patients with microbial keratitis are on some medications before they reach a tertiary eye care center. So this leads to worsening and delay in starting the appropriate treatment. Also, there is a rampant use of empirical medications like antibiotics, antivirals, and antifungals, which also may lead to an antimicrobial resistance, which is going to be a global threat in future. The practice of over-the-counter medications still persist in India, and issues with fortified medications. How do we prepare? What is the shelf life, and how patients are compliant with it? So, certain keratitis have a book-like picture. For example, gram-positive cocci and gram-negative, as shown in the picture. So, clinically, if your clinical acumen is good, you can most of the time you can get away treating the ulcers with antibiotics. But and same with fungal keratitis, as shown in the figures. If we I mean, if we just remember what we read in our textbooks, fungal have a dry, raised satellite lesions and hyphae borders. If we remember that picture, so most of the time we can get away treating the uh, patients. But sometimes looks can be deceiving. For example, in all the three pictures, we can the in the upper left picture we can see that there is a ring infiltrate which can mimic like ring lesions of acanthamoeba. The dendritic pattern in the second upper right picture can mimic dendritic ulcer of HSV, and the deep pinhead lesions in the photo below can also suggest of pythium. But all these three cases, when the scraping was done, it was found to be fungus. So we should always remember that the the looks can be deceiving. So it is very important to document photos to document the clinical findings. Now, see, these are the 4 photos which have been sent to us from our secondary centers by the residents with the help of a mobile camera, the Android phone, uh, from the eyepiece of the slit lamp. Now, documentation is very important to know exactly what the diagnosis is, and also serial documentation, if done properly, can give an idea whether the ulcer is resolving or deteriorating. For the coming to the diagnosis, the ideal one is the first one. We have a well-equipped microbiology lab, a microbiologist technician, and we do as per protocol, just like this. So in our institute, we do a scraping. Each scraping is undergoes a smear. We put it in smears and cultures in solid and liquid medium. But that is not possible in a semi-urban or a rural eye care setup. So next is basic microbiology facility and learning the technique yourself. So this is a photograph. This is a light. All you need is a light microscope with an investment of 50,000 to 60,000 rupees. You need a gram staining. You need a freshly prepared KOH staining, and at least you can do the bare minimum. You can do a gram staining, see the bacteria, fungal filaments, and do the KOH and see the fungus. So you learn the technique yourself, and you can. It will take hardly 2 to 3 days to learn how to do a gram staining and see under the microscope in the 10x and 40x magnification, and be sure what you are treating. The next is you do the staining yourself. Take a photo, as I had mentioned, with the eyepiece of a simple microscope, and get it confirmed by microbiologists. Again, these 4 photos are from our secondary centers, where we can see that nicely gram-positive cocci, negative cocci, fungus, and microsporia can be seen even through the microscope. So the microbiologist can help you confirm it. Next is management. Coming to the management, there have been few studies on the in vitro susceptibility of commonly used antibiotics against the bacterial isolates, and it has been seen that cefazolin has a good coverage, vancomycin has a good coverage, and sometimes empirical and sometimes fortified medications like cefazolin with gentamicin and cefazolin with fluoroquinolones can give better results. So another recent study which was published in 2020 shows that nowadays the gatifloxacin is losing its importance, and it can be considered as a treatment of choice in some of the smaller ulcers, but in large ulcers now there is a definitely there is a development of antimicrobial resistance, and the whole world is shifting towards fortified medications. So based on the previous studies, various treatment protocols are followed, the common ones being antibiotics like fluoroquinolones, gatifloxacin, ciprofloxacin, and for fungal filamentous fungi, it is natamycin, candida, it is amphotericin B, for pythium, linezolide, and for acanthamoeba, it is chlorhexidine and polyhexamethylene biguanide. So, fortified antibiotics preparation has to be, these antibiotics have to be available in a medical store. Usually, they are usually available in all drug stores. Only that we need to know how to prepare it and how to store it. What is the shelf life? So, and also educate the patients where to store in the freezer, in the refrigerator, and away from light, and make sure that they are never used beyond 1 week period. So again, antifungal eye drops also, voriconazole, it is available it is available as an eye drop, but sometimes many places of India, it has to be formulated and used. Topical amphotericin B also have to be formulated. Now, the usual follow-up protocol is 1 week, every 1 week, based on, you see the patient today and you call the patient after 3 days or 1 week, if depending on the situation, on the clinical picture. And usually in all bacterial isolates, the culture sensitivity report is available at 1 week, and depending on the treatment, you can modify the weekly preparations. There are few emergency procedures that can be done, like blue BCL or a tarsorrhaphy or intrastromal and intracameral injections that can be done at a rural eye care center. So coming to the last one, there is a need for a simple, rapid, reliable, easy to use diagnostic device. And based on that, my previous work, I have done a previous work in this, taking the help of Government of India, and have come up with a first working model of such a device, where again the bacteriogram character of the bacterial culture can be identified using this machine, and it has given consistent results with the ATCC strains and the pure cultures. So to conclude, microbial keratitis can be managed at primary and secondary levels with a small basic microbiologic setup. Some procedures like TABCL, darsorrhaphy, and intrastromal injections can be given. It is always better if it is managed appropriately at an early stage. Other options of teleophthalmology can be explored, and that is definitely a need for innovating a simple diagnostic device at a